Jakarta, Indonesia's sprawling capital, home to over 11 billion people, is a megacity brimming with life, culture, and economic significance. However, beneath its bustling streets and towering skyscrapers, a looming crisis is unfolding. The city is sinking at an alarming rate, far faster than the world's more famous sinking city, Venice. Jakarta's decline has become one of the most critical urban challenges of the 21st century, and the solutions being proposed are as audacious as they are controversial. A sinking giant. Unlike Venice, which sinks at a mere 1 to 2 millimeters annually, Jakarta is experiencing an extreme rate of subsidence. The city sinks by up to 15 centimeters per year, with some areas sinking by as much as 26 centimeters annually. In total, around 40% of Jakarta's land lies below sea level, and estimates suggest that by 2050, large portions of the city could be completely submerged. This rapid sinking is driven by a combination of natural and human factors. Jakarta sits on a low-lying coastal plain at the mouth of 13 rivers, and its terrain is naturally swampy. During the wet season, the city faces heavy rainfall, which historically has made it prone to flooding. The Dutch colonized the region in the 17th century, establishing a city called Batavia and constructing canals similar to those found in Amsterdam. These canals were initially designed to provide transportation and drainage, but poor maintenance and a lack of understanding of the tropical climate led to flooding and the spread of disease. As Jakarta expanded in the 20th century, informal settlements cropped up along the riverbanks, further narrowing the city's waterways and exacerbating the flooding problem. Moreover, the rapid urbanization that followed Indonesia's independence in 1945 placed enormous pressure on the city's infrastructure. Natural floodplains and green spaces were lost to urban sprawl, while poor waste management led to clogged rivers and drains. However, the most significant cause of Jakarta's sinking is groundwater extraction. To meet the demands of its rapidly growing population, millions of people in Jakarta rely on underground aquifers for drinking water. As these aquifers are over-extracted, the land above them begins to sink. Groundwater extraction has been especially widespread in the poorer, more informal settlements of the city, where access to piped water is limited. The government's attempt to solve the crisis. Over the years, the Indonesian government has attempted to tackle the issue of groundwater over-extraction by introducing regulations, requiring permits, and launching public awareness campaigns. However, enforcing these regulations has proven to be difficult. Many people in impoverished areas simply cannot afford piped water, and the situation has created a vicious cycle. Poor residents rely on illegal wells to extract groundwater, exacerbating the city's sinking. One proposed solution to this problem is to refill the aquifers and enforce existing regulations more rigorously. However, critics argue that this would not be a simple fix. There is little economic incentive for water companies to provide piped water to poorer residents in Jakarta, as providing water through public hydrants for entire communities is more lucrative. This economic disincentive, combined with the challenges of enforcing water extraction laws, means that the city continues to sink at an alarming pace. Other proposals include drilling infiltration wells designed to allow rainwater and floodwater to naturally replenish the aquifers. Furthermore, restoring the city's floodplains and green spaces could mitigate the effects of flooding, in line with the sponge city concept used in other parts of the world. However, these natural solutions are not being prioritized. Instead, the Indonesian government has opted for a colossal, high-tech solution, a 32-kilometer seawall that will stretch across Jakarta Bay. The vision for a 32-kilometer seawall. In an ambitious effort to save the city, the Indonesian government has embarked on an extravagant plan to build a massive seawall along Jakarta Bay. This seawall, which will cost an estimated $40 billion, is designed to shield the city from rising sea levels and tidal surges, effectively protecting Jakarta's coastal areas. The seawall is expected to be constructed in stages, with the first phase scheduled for completion by 2030. The seawall itself will not be a simple barrier. It will be part of a broader plan that includes 17 artificial islands, one of which is designed to resemble the Garuda, a mythical bird that is Indonesia's national symbol. These islands will house large developments and housing complexes, potentially alleviating the city's urban density issues. The entire seawall project, once completed, will span 32 kilometers and rise 20 meters above sea level, providing a much-needed defense against the encroaching waters. The project is being designed by a company in Rotterdam, known for its experience in land reclamation and sea defense projects. Interestingly, the design of the seawall harks back to Jakarta's Dutch colonial past, reminiscent of the iconic Afsluitdijk in the Netherlands. Completed in the 1930s, the Afsluitdijk was a monumental engineering feat, saving large parts of the Netherlands from catastrophic flooding. Jakarta's seawall project will use similar land reclamation techniques, which will involve dredging materials from the sea and depositing them to build up the coastline. By 2050, the seawall is expected to be fully closed off and transformed into a reservoir, which will not only protect Jakarta from flooding, but also store rainwater, providing the city with much-needed freshwater. The plan also includes floodgate systems that will regulate water flow from Jakarta's rivers and prevent overflow. The potential pitfalls of the seawall. While the seawall project is a bold and visionary undertaking, it has faced significant criticism from environmentalists, engineers, and local communities. One of the most pressing concerns is the impact on marine ecosystems. The seawall could disrupt local sea currents, alter the flow of water, and lead to the erosion of nearby islands. Moreover, the enclosed bay could become a toxic lagoon, trapping polluted water from Jakarta's rivers, which would have detrimental effects on both the environment and public health. There are also concerns about the displacement of local communities, particularly fishing villages, which could be forced to relocate to make way for the seawall and artificial islands. Many critics argue that the project prioritizes commercial interests over the welfare of Jakarta's most vulnerable populations, fueling social inequality and marginalization. Furthermore, the vast price tag and the long construction timeline, estimated at 40 years, raise questions about the feasibility of the project. While the seawall may offer some protection against rising sea levels, it does little to address the root causes of Jakarta's flooding problems. The city's sinking is largely due to excessive groundwater extraction, and until this issue is tackled, the seawall will merely be a temporary solution. Critics argue that the government should focus on addressing the underlying causes of Jakarta's decline, rather than investing in megaprojects that may not provide long-term benefits. A new capital city, Nusantara. As Jakarta continues to sink, the Indonesian government has also taken the bold step of planning a new capital city, named Nusantara. This new city will be built in the heart of the jungle, far from the flood-prone areas of Jakarta. The idea of building a new capital is not unprecedented. Brazil's Brasilia and Australia's Canberra were also created from scratch, but moving a capital city due to the sinking of its predecessor is a first. Construction of Nusantara began in 2022, and the project is expected to cost around $35 billion. The development will be carried out in 5 phases, with the final phase scheduled for completion in 2045, coinciding with Indonesia's centennial of independence. Nusantara is envisioned as a smart and green city, powered by renewable energy sources and incorporating extensive green spaces. The city will also feature a new presidential palace, shaped like the Garuda bird, and new highways connecting it to other parts of the country. However, Nusantara has not been without its own set of controversies. The construction site encroaches on heavily forested areas, including nature preserves that are home to endangered species such as orangutans. Local indigenous groups have also expressed concerns about being displaced from their ancestral lands to make way for the new city. Additionally, while the government has made progress on the construction of the presidential palace, essential infrastructure, such as the airport and transportation systems, are still far from completion. Despite the setbacks, Nusantara represents a bold attempt to escape Jakarta's sinking fate. Yet, Questions remain about the financial sustainability of the project, especially after initial investors like SoftBank pulled out. The project's reliance on state funds has raised concerns about its long-term viability. And there you have it, the incredible story of Jakarta's struggle to stay above water and the massive projects being proposed to save it. What do you think? Will the seawall and Nusantara be the solution, or are we missing something? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the world's most pressing urban challenges, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating videos about cities, technology, and engineering marvels.